Hello, friends. Okay, hello. Today we are talking about some things that we have given up or are giving up or are breaking up with so that we can embrace Black joy, so that we can live lives of joy and peace. I'm gonna spoil it. One of them is Black excellence. I put that in the title anyway, I think. We're breaking up with some things, and so we're going to just talk today with each other, with you, with the other women in the live stream about things that we are moving away from so that we can move towards the things that we really want in our lives. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter and the creator of House Sitter School. I'm the co creator of Exodus Summit, and I help Black women take a sabbatical, bop around the world, move abroad, start house sitting, all while embracing ease. If any of these things sound good to you, doesn't have to be all of them, okay? If any of these things sound good to you, make sure that you hit the subscribe button on the channel. You have to hit the button and then turn on notifications, ring the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post a new video or when I go live. Welcome to you. And special guest, welcome to you. Hi, Alicia.
Hello. Thank you
I'll
for
be,
having me.
you're welcome. I'm really excited to talk with you today. So, we're talking with Alicia today for more than one reason. So, Alicia, why don't you introduce yourself to anybody who hasn't met you yet? Listen, I get the credit for being the person who has put you on to Alicia Renise if you don't know her yet. So, I'm excited about that. Okay.
Yes. And I appreciate you, Stephanie. Thank you for having me. I'm Alicia. I'm Alicia Renece. I'm an artist. I am a Black woman who loves and who lives. And I'm just happy to be here. I try not to, I'm trying to think of a new way to introduce myself because like trying to unlearn, right? Like, oh, this is what I do. This is what I bring, right? As opposed to like, this is who I am. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so I'm Alicia. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. I am an artist and I like to create and have fun. So thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for saying yes. And yes, Alicia
Yes.
does love to create. We we
Yeah.
uh, we we enjoy listening to Alicia's music on her channel and watching her make and create and play and have fun live on the internet. And we
Yeah.
also love watching her or listening to you, Alicia, work out, work through who you want to be in the world
Mm, I
and
love
do
that.
that out loud, and decide what things you're embracing in your life, what things you're going to reject in your life, and talking them out in a
Yeah.
wonderful way. So thank you. Thank you
I
for being so
thank
sharing.
you. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that because I think even with like creation, like there are people who look for like, oh, this is like my niche or this is my thing, right? Which is all important.
Yeah.
But I think I've struggled a lot because I'm like, I actually don't know what that is. And I'm just like out here taking up space and trying to figure out who I am. So I appreciate that because that it feels like not that I need it, but I appreciate that because it feels like a permission slip to just be in progress and to be able to just be like, I'm a Black woman in progress, like
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, whatever that means.
Yeah, so we definitely are supposed we're supposed to be a particular thing, be that particular thing for our whole lives and not explore, not play, right? Not have
Yeah.
fun. And when we see other women who are like, I'm gonna try this thing, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this
Yeah.
thing, I'm gonna share that I'm doing this thing, I'm not gonna hold it in silence, it really does remind us, oh, I could do something different. I could try something
Yeah.
else, right?
Yeah.
From like I'm going to say small superficial things, even though understanding as Black women the external presentation of our bodies is not superficial or small. But like even from the small things, even from I'm going to change my hair, right? I'm going to grow out my hair. Oh no, I'm going to cut my hair. Oh, I'm going to dye my hair. I'm going to dye my hair pink. Right?
Yeah.
From those things to I live in a house. Oh no, I live in a car. I drive around the country. I do these things.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
reminds us that, oh, we're supposed to have fun here. We're supposed to live
Yes.
this
Yeah.
life and we're supposed to try some new stuff. We don't have to feel like we're not planted in the ground.
Yeah.
We're involved in this earth, but we're not planted in the earth. So I really,
I
really
love that.
love that's the way I see you. I see you as like, oh, let me try this, let me try that.
That's exciting. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
good, good. Okay, hey everybody, how's everybody? I haven't been live on a Saturday morning in a little while because of the South Africa meetup and everything. So hi, how's everyone? If you don't know the rules are you have to say good morning, okay? If you're here, you have to say good morning. So good morning, everyone. Hey, good morning, Roshni. Good morning, Yvonne. All right, so friends, I made up a little list that I didn't share with Alicia. Okay, so I put on the thumbnail of this video that there are 5 things that we broke up with. I don't know how many there really are. Okay, I think you probably will understand that. First, I would like to talk about why joy. Alicia, why do you? Joy is a word, is a term that comes up a lot in your work, on your YouTube channel, in your music. Why joy?
I love that question. I feel like joy is a matter of life and death. It's not it's not frivolous. It's not like dessert. It's not extra, right? I think that a lot of our illnesses, a lot of our diseases, a lot of our, as someone who struggles with a lot of mental health issues, I think that sometimes like pushing off joy causes more suffering than necessary. And I think that even like when I think of like scripture and things like that, like the joy of the Lord is our strength, right? Like it's like without joy, you have no strength. You know what I mean? Like without joy, like you're weary, you're fatigued, you're what's the word? Like you're full of despair. And so like if there's no joy, then it's almost like what's the point, right? But I also think that Black women specifically, excuse me, I also think Black women specifically have been taught to put off joy, or that like their joy is in their suffering,
Yeah.
or their joy, right? Like their joy is, or they should take pleasure in their suffering, or their joy is in like the great by and by, right? For like the religious stuff, right? And it's like, no, like joy is here. Why is everybody else allowed to experience joy except us?
Uh-huh.
Like everyone, even people who do wrong to other people take joy and pleasure in that. And so if people who are doing wrong to other people take joy and pleasure in that, why can't I take joy and pleasure in the good things, right? Like, so yeah. So joy is something I'm trying to reclaim, and something I'm trying to learn is okay to experience in every facet of life, like even professionally, right? Like you don't have to suffer to make money. You don't have to suffer to serve people. There's a joyful way to do everything. I do feel like joy is the way. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that I really appreciate that. I think that we have we have an idea that people get to live lives of joy and that people get to express joy. But as Black women, we really don't believe yet that it's our way, right? I think when we see it in other people, we're like, okay, that's nice. But for us, we have to be so serious. We have to be so mired in struggle and in the betterment of other people's lives. And joy is, yeah, like you said, we see joy as frivolous. When really, on at the end, I think what we're going to regret is not having the joy, right? Not having not the fun. We're going to regret not having the fun. Yeah.
There's a to that, like there's a study on like the top regrets of the dying, and like one of them is like I wish I would have, like, I mean I'm paraphrasing obviously, but like I wish I would have allowed myself to experience more joy or have more fun or spend time with people that I love. And because we think like the stuff is like the hard stuff, like this, like, even again, I'm gonna get on my whatever on my soapbox, but like here in the West it's like uh where suffering is literally currency here. Like suffering is currency.
Yeah.
And so like to be able to be like, oh no, I'm actually opting out of that. Out of that, like you won't have me, and I don't have to also make other people suffer to
Right.
experience joy.
Right.
Um, and I also don't want to get to the end of my life, like you said, and be like, dang, I wish I had more fun. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like, and the fact that we have these books and these this research. It's like you said, like the what is it? It's a, what is the word that you use? It's like a shortcut. Like it's a key. Like learning from our elders. Like, oh, our elders in their transition out of into a different part of life, it's like, oh, it with clarity they realize like, oh, joy was supposed to be it, like not this suffering. Because what does all this amount to if I don't have joy, if I don't have community, if I don't have memories,
Right.
or pleasurable memories, I should say. But yeah.
Now that being said, times are hard and there's a lot of bad stuff happening in the world, right? So are you at this point, at this time in the world, Are you at this time thinking maybe we should shift away from joy? Trick question.
No, I don't think. I think that there is a pull, right? I mean, like even when you talk about like being serious and like things are seriously happening across the world. But I also feel like for me, joy doesn't necessarily like I can I think that me experiencing joy in my own life radiates throughout the rest of the world, right? And things that make me joyful are caring for people, right? And it's not about like, oh, serving people into death. Like it's like, no, like I love smiling at people. I love saying good morning. I love talking to the trees. I love, you know what I'm saying? Like these things make me joyful. And what I there are times that I feel helpless, like hopeless and helpless. Like I can't for my own self, but also for other people. I'm seeing all the suffering across the world. I'm like, what can I do? And I think one of the main things that I can do is live with joy today because my existence is not a mistake. My existence is not just like happenstance. If I do something bad, if I have a drain outside my house, like if I pour something bad into the drain, it ends up in the ocean, right? And so is the joy, right? Like if I do something kind for someone, if I'm kind to myself, if I'm experiencing nature, then I show up in the world as a better person. If I'm having joyful experiences, I'm a joyful person. I'm able to hold space for other people and pass that joy on to other people. So then it ripples out. So yeah, I there's a divide, but like I'm clear on what I need to do. Like live, take up space how I need to, do my part. Like it's not my job to save the world, but by living with joy, I do save the world and save myself and other people. So
Yes, that's right. Because we are connected. We are connected. You're right. I wrote that down. Joy is a way to care for people. We're not. If you believed that we were, every person was isolated, that every person was like separate from every other person, then I could understand someone saying, well, living well, right? Living a life of joy, embracing, you know, joy during difficult times in the world, that would be selfish. But we're not individual. We're not separated. We're not separate. There is connection, there is community. And so yes, that joy is a way to care for people. I wrote that down with three exclamation points. Yeah.
yay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of guilt, right? We are really good at feeling the guilt and spreading the
Yes.
guilt. So yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of guilt about feeling good, about enjoying yourself, and about living your life. Um, but like seriously, if not now, when? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
when? So if you don't do it today, then there's never going to be a day.
Mm.
If now is not the time for joy, then there's never a time for joy. If now is
Mm.
not the time for a full life, there's never time for a full life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
April
I love
imperative,
that.
joy begets joy.
Yes, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Okay, so this is why we're talking joy. All right, I think for the month of March, I'm talking about the breakup. Right, I'm doing it's spring breakup season. So I'd like to run through some things that we may have in common that we have broken up with in order to pursue joy. Okay, so I think
Yes.
we're both pretty much broken up with the American dream. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Yeah.
Oh, could you repeat that? I'm sorry. Could you
I
say that one
said
more
we've
time?
both broken up with the American dream, and I know that because I have watched your YouTube channel and I've seen this, right? So we've both broken up with the American dream. What did the American dream look like? Like your pursuit of your original pursuit of the American dream. What did that look like for you, and why break up with that?
Oh, yes. So, the American dream is something not that anybody ever says like this is the American dream.
Yeah,
This is the plan, right? But it's given to you in little pieces like as you age and mature and like matriculate through college. I mean college, through grade school and then into college, right? So it's like you're almost like you're placed in a funnel where it's like you can be anything that you want to be. And then it's like actually it gets smaller and smaller, right? Like the further you get along, like the possibilities become less and less.
yeah,
And I think when I realized like what it cost, like the American dream, what it cost me or what it's going to cost me, because even access to the American dream, and I'm a millennial, so
Hmm.
access to the American dream uh, is further away for me, it feels,
Yeah.
than for people who came before me. Like even my older brother, like he's 7 years older than I am. It's very different. Like we have two very different experiences and realities. And so at some point in college, I realized this is never ending. Like this, the stress, the strain, the pressure, like it's never ending. And to one, obtain the American dream, to maintain it, is a track for early death. It
Yeah.
just is.
Yeah.
Seeing my elders, seeing my mom, my grandmother, like my grandmother worked until she got too ill to work and passed away. I do think that she loved what she did, but like at the same time, no. Like I saw what the American dream or the pursuit of it did to people, and
Yeah.
I didn't want it to have me. So I think that I'm at this place where I'm mourning the American dream because I thought the American dream would be stability. I thought the American dream would be peace. And like once you get there, it's like, oh, now I've arrived. But then I see people, my peers, like people I graduated with and things like that,
Uh-huh.
and how much they're struggling and suffering. And I'm like, wow, like it really doesn't end. Like there is no end. So I think what the American dream requires is just I'm not willing to pay it.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to pay it. And I'm not willing to oppress other people. I'm not willing to take from other people. I'm not willing to work myself into an early grave just to meet some sort of marker of success that other people picked for me. Like
Yeah.
nobody asked me like, what is success to you, Alicia? Nobody asks that. Like it's like this is what success is. And if you don't fit this, then you're a failure. And
Yeah.
so I'm just like sitting with like, okay, I'll be a failure to you. That's okay. Like it's cool. I will say though that there is more it's more effort and work on my side because okay, sorry. I'm trying to there's something um comforting about having a track to
Yeah.
go down.
Oh yeah.
And when you're figuring out your own track, sometimes it's harder because there is no blueprint. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm just showing up, following my bliss, following my joy, following spirit, like trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do today, right? As opposed to looking at this trajectory, I don't know, 50 years down, I don't know, 50 years down the line. Like it's like I'm literally making a carving out a different space for me and people are not going to get it. So
No.
not only are you giving up the American dream and the safety of it, but you're also being judged by other people, whether silently or like passively or just like right in your face. Like, what are you doing with your life? And to be able to be like, I don't know, but we're going to figure it out, So,
That's
so
right.
yeah. So yeah. So that's why I gave it up.
That's right. So when you give up when you decide that the only path out there is not the path for you, right? You got to go down. There's no path. Maybe you're making one behind you, but ahead of you, there's no path, right? You're getting dirty. You're getting muddy. You're getting dusty, right? There's rocks. There's boulders. There's twigs and trees and branches and roots in the way, right? It's really hard. We talk about, oh, I quit, right? I give up on this thing. I reject this thing. But we don't talk enough about how hard it is to do that over and over and over again because the path is like it's right there. And there's a path there and you at least know maybe you don't like where it's going to end, but you know where it's going to take you. You have an idea. Whereas on this path where you're like, no, actually I don't want the American dream. I don't want that. I don't want to work until I'm 70. I don't want to work hard, very, very, very hard, work myself to exhaustion until I'm over 70, and then try to live out, some of these dreams in my life. When you say that, it's easy for us to say, oh, we reject it, but it's really hard to reject over and over and over. It's hard to live it. It's a difficult decision or difficult. It makes for difficult experiences.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're doing it all from not from zero, because we have our own life experiences, we have our own abilities and skills, and we have our own community, but we just
Hmm.
don't have a real path. There's no path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think even with that, like understanding that I had to understand I'm still sitting with it. Like I'm trying to slow down. Like I'm trying to in a lot of ways and in a lot of ways and in a lot of areas of my life, I'm trying to slow down because I realize, Alicia, you are carving a new path for yourself. It's fatiguing. You need to rest. Like
Yeah.
you have to you like the American dream is very much go, 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 do, next level, like let's tackle the next thing. When you're carving out your own thing, it's gonna take longer.
That's right.
It's gonna take more time.
That's right.
And and people are not going to be with you in the beginning. A lot of people are not going to ride with you until they see something that registers in their mind as like success. Like, oh, okay, like this person did it. But in the in between, it's kind of lonely sometimes. So
Yeah.
like, you need to go back and you need to go to your community. You need to look at people like possibility models, like you were saying, and like other people were saying. And I forget the person who. So forgive me.
Dr.
I'm
Joy.
sorry. Who?
Yeah, Dr. Joy. Dr. Joy
Yes.
and Brad
Yes.
therapy for Black girls.
Yes, it's literally like building a plane and flying it at the same time. Like trying to figure out, okay, cool. Like, oh, let me try this thing. Oh, no, this doesn't work. Let's put this down. Let's put this back on. And like people will see that as a failure, but like one thing that I'm sitting with is like sometimes the destruction of something or the removal of something is not failure. It's learned like information. Like this doesn't work for me. I tried this, it doesn't work. This is no judgment on myself.
Yeah.
Let's try something else. But a lot of us have been taught that like it's not okay to fail. It's not okay to fail out loud. It's not okay to not know the answer. It's not like you have to know everything before you do the thing. And I'm learning, shaking and scared, like, okay, I'm gonna fail out loud and I'm probably gonna look a mess and it is what it is. And I'll get over it at some point, but honoring the feelings too. So yeah, and honoring the rest and the care that you need.
So you talk a lot about having been a person who was in your younger days. You're still in your younger days, so I'm joking, right? But you talk a lot about having been a person who was very concerned with how other people viewed you, right? And now you do so. So we'll be more specific. Some of y'all are like, "What are you talking about?" We'll be more specific, but you do some really specific things that are going to receive judgment. So does that mean there was just a switch that flipped where you no longer hear the judgment or care or take it in? Or like, how do you go from a person who was concerned about
Hmm.
what other people thought or saw to
Hmm.
now being able to operate in your own way?
Hmm. I still am very concerned, to be quite honest with you. I'm scared. Like a lot of people, I appreciate that, right? A lot of people look at me and they're like, oh wow, like, and I'm like, no, I'm shaking in my boots every time I do something. And like what I've learned is that again, bravery is not the absence of fear. Like I'm scared as I don't know what, but I'm brave. One thing about me, I'm brave, right? So like there is resilience. I don't like that word, but resilience that I've learned because I walk into the world knowing people are probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
I've been an outcast my whole life. So like it's nothing new, but it's still painful. You still want to belong.
Yes.
But what I realize is that even though my circle might be smaller or the people who get me might be smaller, it's deeper than like being accepted by people on a very surface level because I'm masking, I'm pretending, I'm playing this part so that you like me. And the whole time I'm still feeling empty and I'm still feeling like a stranger to myself and almost like in a way not to be so harsh with myself, but in a way, rejecting myself to fit other people's narrative of what a good, whatever X, Y, and Z is. And it's just like, I would rather much love myself and have a core group of people who are like, I get you, I get it, or I don't get it, but I still love you, right? And then, pretend and play this part and be exhausted from auditioning for people my whole life, so there's still people pleasing that I'm unlearning. There's still I still care about what people think of me. And I think that that's normal because we're communal beings. We want people to accept us. We want people to love us. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm trying my hardest not to allow my want and desire for people to love me to like overshadow like who I actually want to be in the world and who I actually am. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So
So
you
I'm still scared.
said you are you no longer auditioning for people. You felt like you were auditioning for people your whole life. This is a way to talk about the another thing that you do that you have rejected or that you have broken up with. Okay, so we've both broken up with traditional jobs. And you've broken up with a traditional music career, which has led you to like a whole untraditional, unconventional music career. That is awesome. So, can we talk about what you originally thought music was going to have to look like for you and what it looks like today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. I growing up before streaming and like all these different things, like you had to be signed by a label to get anywhere, right? Like you could do like local stuff like in the DMV, like go-go is like a thing, like the music scene is a thing, but to be able to be like
To make
on platforms and stages. Yeah. Yeah. To be able to make a living, like you have to be signed by somebody. And so I thought, like growing up, like that was the path that I had to take. So like literally I'd be writing letters, I'd be sending auditions and stuff like that. And of course, like not of course, but nobody responded. But like with the advent of the internet,
uh-huh.
I'm grateful. I realized like, oh, we can actually do what we want now. Like the gatekeepers at this point are kind of, they're still there, but they're going down. And I will say that I think that they're just creating new gatekeepers. That's another conversation though.
Oh,
But I think because Spotify, for example, like these platforms, algorithms and things like that, like it's still pay to play. It's still the same
oh,
thing, but it looks different. There's more room to support yourself. Anyway, so I thought that you had to be under 25. I thought that you had to be conventionally attractive. And by that, I mean light skin, long hair, like thin in the right places, like, you know,
yeah.
what people were pushed.
Mm,
You have to be like eye candy. And so I was like, I don't fit at this point. I don't fit none of that. You know what I mean? But then I realized that's actually not what I want. Like that what I want is to be able to express myself through my art, through music, for people to resonate with it, the right people to resonate with it. I really want to be honest and true. And I realized by going the conventional route, by getting signed, you're not able to be honest. You have to be what they want you to be.
uh-huh.
And so it's almost like it was a blessing that I never got picked up, that I was always rejected, because it's like I can't imagine like me now at 34, like I know who I am, or I'm still learning who I am, but I'm more secure than I was 10 years ago, let's say that. And so 10 years ago, they would have pulled me every which way and I would have done it. I would have done anything. I would have done anything
Yes.
because I wanted to be famous, right? I wanted to be famous. But looking back now, I realized I didn't want fame. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be understood. I wanted to express myself freely. And I thought that fame equated to love, and it doesn't. And now you're seeing like how the industry uses people and abuses people, right? And traps people, and my heart goes out to them, because it's, you really are bound. It's really slavery. Like these contracts are slavery. You're working for indentured servitude. Like somebody gives you a $500,000 advance, you got to make that back and some, right? So like it's too much. It's too much pressure. So yeah. So now I feel like I'm more free, and I care a lot less about fame. I care more about, which I didn't think that I was ever gonna not care about, but I care way less about that and more about like being able to sustain myself and to be an honest artist.
Yes.
Like that's all I want, is like to be able to sustain myself and be an honest artist. Beyond that, great, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's an amazing time to be in this space, right? In the space that you're in. And but we're both creators in different ways, right? It's an amazing time, right? The internet is just like there. And it's really cheap to put stuff on the internet and reach out to people and be like, "Hey, I think you might be interested in this." It's really changed what it looks like to be a musician or a writer or a whatever.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
do you do you think do you okay, so do you think that there is a path to your music fully supporting you and all of that without fame today?
I do. I do. I
And
think oh, sorry.
no,
Before you
go
finish your question, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think my thing's delayed. I'm sorry. But yes, I think there have been opportunities that have presented themselves that I could not have fathomed, right? Like I like 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, I got invited to a retreat for Black women, and it was in Nemacolin, Pennsylvania, excuse me.
I don't know that.
And they wanted me to come and perform for them, perform some of my songs. And I'm like, me, right? Like, girl, what? Like, you want me to come? And one person that was actually there was someone who Adelia, or Picky Girl Travels World, interviewed, and her name's Latifa, and she's a yoga practitioner. So they were there, and it was very much like about like loving yourself and all these different things. And it was beautiful for my music to be able to be integrated into that space, and people were singing along with me, and like it was, even though it was intimate, it was like maybe like 25 people in the room. it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. First of all, I'm an introvert. That's the first thing. I'm an introvert. I
25 is
also care a
plenty,
lot.
right? That's plenty
Yes,
of
yes,
people.
that's enough. So like in the room having all those eyes stare back at you, but it wasn't like, I feel like it wasn't that I was there to be consumed, right? Like it wasn't like I was there like for their entertainment. It was an experience where we were all in this together, and I like that more than being on a stage in front of all these people and like, listen to me sing. Like I want you to actually listen to what I'm saying. I want it to like seep into you, and I want you to chew on it, and like, and so those experiences helped me to see what's possible. Like,
Yes.
oh, I don't have to be famous. Like I just got to find my people. You know what I mean? And hopefully be able to collaborate with people, be open to opportunities, these kinds of things. So yeah, so there's a way to be able to sustain. I have to, there's also other things that I want to do when I get enough energy, because right now I'm just tired. But I want to help other artists create their art. Like I want to help other independent artists, like musicians, so they don't have to go that route, and they don't have to, you know, be victims of a system. Like show them, hey, like this is how you can, as a music, you can teach songwriting. You can teach for those who can, you know, play. You can teach how to play piano or guitar, whatever it is. Um, you can write songs for people. I also had I did a cover song of Mr. Postman
Hmm.
and by the Marvelettes, and I got that song picked up, and it was in a commercial, and I
Oh,
was like, what?
I love that.
Yes, like that was,
Oh,
it was
that's
so bizarre because I thought it was a scam. I'll be honest. I was like, this is too good to be true.
oh,
But like it went through, and it was great, and I was able to sustain myself for a good while with that money. Like,
good.
and again, these are things that I could not imagine by myself. I think like the person paid me like $60,000
Oh, wow. No kidding. Oh,
for
that's so,
having for covering a song. Like not even something that I had to like come up with. And this is a song that I covered for fun,
your
right?
voice.
And so like the possibilities are endless, and that showed me like, Alicia, all you got to do is show up. All you like, you don't have to plan for 10 years ahead. I mean, and I know that there's some planners out there, so if that works for you, that works for you. For me though, like the anxiety of it as an artist, like we don't know what the art scene is going to be in 10 years, right? But all I have to do is show up. All I got to do is show up and do the thing that I'm able to do. And because I got that money, I was able to like bless the person that helped me make the record for me, like to put the music behind, because I do acapella songs.
Yes.
So he put the track behind me, and I was able to help him and his family. Like it
Oh,
was just it was such an amazing experience, and it really just showed me like when you're in alignment, when you're following your heart, and I mean that. I know it's like really woo woo whatever, but when you follow your heart, things happen. Magical things happen,
yes.
right? Like even the fact that we're having this conversation right now, like I would have never met you, right? Like I would have never met you. I would have never
That's right.
we wouldn't be here, right? If you haven't shared your experience, if I haven't shared my experiences, right? And it's like, yeah, you're not planning this, but by you doing the thing that is in your heart to do, it's like, oh, okay, like that's how easy it can be. Like that's what I want to like step into, like that ease. So yeah, yeah,
That's right. Yeah, Erica. So some women are saying thank you very much for talking about money, saying the money out loud,
yeah,
because it's helpful to know what the possibilities are. It's helpful
yes,
to know like how things operate in the world. That's really
yes,
cool. So how long ago was the commercial, and is it something that we could see?
yes. I think the commercial's still up. It was for AAG with Tom Selleck, like those commercials. It was at this point I want to say either 2 or 3 years ago. Mm. It's
AAG is
2024.
that I don't know AAG. Is that an insurance thing?
It's like a home refinancing
Okay. And Tom
thing.
Selleck was on the commercial. Okay.
Yes.
We'll be able
I
to
was
find.
like, oh
We'll be able to find
my
it. That's really
god.
cool.
It is.
Yeah,
I was like, the Tom Selleck is talking over me singing. That's crazy. So anyway.
that's really cool. So, how does someone, me, right, who's looking to get into an industry or looking to be on the publisher side in an industry that is also predatory, right? What is a thing that you wish more business owners would do for their artists?
Mm.
I know that's a question out of nowhere. What?
No, no,
So
this that's a good
so
question.
I'm publishing my own book, but my plan is to publish other people's books, right? To be a book publisher. Authors are also, treated the same way. fine.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make the big
Yes.
publisher. If your book makes any money, you're still not going to make
Mhm.
any money from that book.
Yeah.
The publisher is the one who makes the money. Is there one thing
Yeah.
you're like, if I was going to do it this, I would do it this way in the music
Yeah.
world?
Yeah. That's a really good question. Of course I have like a million thoughts, but like cuz I thought about starting like my own like for music, like helping black women make music. And I think but I already think like you're already there. Like I think that sadly a lot of people are looking to enslave people.
Yes.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people are looking like with YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms where people stream, Audible, Kindle, like all these different platforms use the genius of artists to make themselves money and pay the artist the least. I
Yes.
think the number one thing that a lot of these businesses, these, you know, music industry, big people, whatever, they can do is actually give the artist most of the money.
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
like to me, like that is my because if you have 100 artists, for example, and you're giving the art, you're gonna be okay. You're
That's
gonna be
right.
fine. You're gonna be fine. Even if it's like 10, 15, 20, I don't know, like whatever the split is, give the artist the most because you're living off of their genius. It is their work. It is their art that sustains these platforms. And I'm gonna get energized.
Listen,
But
no,
like,
but that's real
yeah,
talk. Listen, I
yeah.
got approached after my YouTube channel had well over 100,000 subscribers. After I had well over 15,000 people on my email list, I got approached by a publisher to write a book, and their offer for me was a flat, not royalty based, flat $4,000.
That's
$4,000
insulting.
to write a whole book. They were small. They wanted
Yeah.
to be pretty small, right? 30,000 words, I think, was their thing. Write a whole book for Black women, right? And they already had a couple of books on Amazon that were doing really well, and they've got a new one. So they found I see I've now followed the woman on Instagram who wrote the book that they wanted me to write. I can't wait to talk to her and be like, girl, that was one book, but don't do it again. Don't do that again. Right? $4,000 total. They knew, I with 100,000 YouTube subscribers, you could assume that I could sell 1,000 books, right? So that's not even $4 a book, right? I could sell maybe 10,000 books. That's 40 cents a book, right? So I think that I've been meditating lately on another world is possible, right?
Yes.
There is a different. That's from the affirmation deck from the Nap Ministry. They have a rest deck. You have it right there.
I
I
do. I
have
do.
I pulled out a few cards and I've been traveling around the world with them. I've had some cards with me for quite a while. The deck is big, but I have a few
Yeah,
individual,
it is.
and I've been meditating on that. Another world is possible, and we can create things
Yes.
the way that we wish they were. We don't have to
Yeah.
just keep saying, "I wish things worked like this." We could actually make them work like that if we say so.
Yeah.
Everything is made up.
Yeah. And everything is okay. So have you heard about Tiffany Red? She's like a songwriter and she advocates for other songwriters.
No.
So she's a songwriter and she advocates for other songwriters because songwriters get paid pennies, if anything at all. And so she's been under a lot of fire because she's come for Beyonce. It is what it is.
Okay.
Okay. But some of our faves are like predatory. It is what it is. It's the truth. And because that's how sadly the industry has been run. And so because she's calling out these people, people are coming at her like, well, that's how it always is. And, you know, if you didn't want to do that, you didn't have to sign or you didn't have to whatever. And it's like, for me, that frustrates me because I'm just like, you're more creative than this. Stop it. Stop. Like, you are more creative than this. Why are we just going along with stuff like because it's a status quo or because it is? Guess what? Slavery at some point was a status quo too. Are you okay with like just like what is happening?
That's
And
right.
so I agree with you. Like another world is possible and it will take time and it will take energy and it will take effort. And you probably won't be living like the billionaire execs
Uh-huh.
at, I don't know, Sony Music or whatever it is, but you'll be okay.
Yeah.
You'll have more than money, right?
Yes.
Like you'll have more than money. And so I think a lot of people sadly they get what is the word? Seduced by the coin and it's like, oh well, you know, because capitalism is very much about pay you the least, make me the most. That
Yeah.
is slavery. It
That's
just is what it is. And so like we have to unlearn that enslaving other people is not going to set you free.
Mhm.
It's not going to set you free. Like you yourself are a slave too. And so for me, I'm just like, I'm okay with operating outside of that. And I just love that you're saying that like another world is possible, because when I think of even the term lazy, and I don't like that term lazy, to me that is, it's lazy thinking to be like, this is what it is and this is what it will always, this is how it always has to be,
Yeah.
especially when you're fighting other people who are trying to fight for
We're
you.
trying to
It's
fix
always
it.
the person.
They're trying to fix.
Yes.
She's trying to fix
Yes.
it.
Like she's fighting for you, and you're fighting like every revolutionary, every person that, and that's what you, if you're going to be a revolutionary, if you're going to not do whatever, you have to understand and learn how to either take it on the chin or like process those feelings, because people will fight you.
Yeah.
People will try to tear you down because they don't want things to change, because a lot of people want to be on top.
Just.
They don't want safety and equal. They don't want justice. Yes, they want to be the person. And so you coming for the industry executives is you coming for their American dream,
If you,
their dream of, yes, exactly. So anyway,
that's
so
right. That's
I'm gonna
right.
step down off my soapbox.
I no, I'm listen, we're all in on this conversation. We're all in. I Dash says I'm deeply interested in songwriting and producing, but reticent to get involved because of the toxicity of the industry. It's a new day. You can make your own industry. So Alicia Renise has super fans. I'm not kidding when I tell you I'm so excited to be the person to introduce somebody today to her. Most of you probably are, you most of you already know her. But I'm super excited because somebody's about to become a super fan, right? Alicia has super fans. She's got people who ride for her. And that is more than, I think it's better to have some people really on your side than it is to have an industry like lukewarm, willing to use you, right? It's better to have some
That,
people who are like, you're my girl, right? That
yes,
is more long lasting, more fulfilling,
yeah,
more everything, more better. It's more better to
yes,
have of some people who are like, this is my girl. Have you heard of Alicia?
yeah,
Right? Than it is to have an industry be like, okay, well, we'll see what we can get from her for now.
yeah. And that like that route can be so lonely too. Like there's, because I know what that feeling is, like the feeling of, oh, I love what you do, I love what you do, whatever. But because they don't really, because they don't really rock with you, right? Because they're not your people. It's lonely. And so if and when you're on the wrong side of, in their mind of history or whatever, they'll throw you away. You're lonely. You're, when you're building community, and that's what this is about, right? Like, because I don't want to. I'm grateful that I get to be supported by people who enjoy my art. I love that. It makes me very happy, and I'm honored. Every comment is supportive. Every like purchase is supportive. Like you are supportive. I really appreciate that. But when you are doing things in that way on your own, you have like, you don't have allies. You don't have, if it falls through, who's going to be there to be there with you at the bottom
That's
or to
right.
help pick you up, right? Like, and so yeah, like that's all cool and fine. It's cool to have people chanting your name, but like, do they really know you? Is your name sacred in their mouth? You know what I'm saying? Or is it just like, oh, this is like the trendy thing today, right? Like you're the trendy thing today, and I don't like you today because everybody don't like you today. It's too much. So
That's
so
right.
I appreciate that sentiment, because that's, and I appreciate you putting me on. I appreciate that,
Yeah, listen.
because it's
Over and
beautiful.
over,
It's
over
beautiful.
and over and over and over. So,
Oh.
Alicia, okay, so two different, okay, I want to go in four different directions. First, I've dropped the link to Alicia's Bandcamp a couple of times in the chat. If you're watching the replay, hello, friends in the future. I hope it's amazing there. The link is already in the description of this video. So you can see you can go to Alicia's Bandcamp, which is the place where you can go and pay for her music. Bandcamp is a more equitable way for artists to sell their art, right? For musicians to sell their music. So go there. So first, so now I want to talk about what, I don't know if this is a taboo question. How do you describe your music? Is that a question that like, oh my gosh, is that an eye roll press question?
No, no. I um I love that question. How I describe my music, honest, honest. I think people would say meditative sometimes. Like I look at the comments, because the thing is, like, I can have an idea of what I think my music is, but really listening to other people listen to my music is better, because I'm like, okay, that's what, because I, even though I have intentions with my music, a lot of the intention is to express myself. A lot of the intention is to tell the truth. And so it makes me happy when I see people, like, even the last project I put out is Rage. And it's just like songs that like helped me process my anger, helped me to process my sorrow and my frustration. And I was worried because I was like, well, I always put out like this, like love yourself music and everything's gonna be fine. And then this song is this EP is like everything sucks and I
Here's what
hate it
I'm let
here.
me let me
Love
tell you
advice.
5 things I'm mad about today. Right? That's what it is.
Yes, yes. And people still resonated with that. And they were still saying like, this is healing. Thank you. And I'm like, healing. Wow. Like even in, and it really, I will say, I feel like my music feels like a safe space for me because it allows me to be a full human,
Mhm.
a full human being. Yes, I am very much everything's going to be fine, but I'm also sometimes depressed and I'm also sometimes like angry, and it makes sense why I'm angry because of all like the inequities in the world and how people are being treated, and I'm a very sensitive person, and so like I can't have like love and light without the rage. Like the anger, like I feel angry, and shout out to Marissa Price. We were having this conversation, but it's like the rage is because I care. Like I'm angry because I care. Like I'm an angry black woman because I care, right? Like, and a lot of y'all not angry enough, right? That's how I feel. And so like not y'all, but y'all, right? Like so like a lot of the world is not angry enough with what's happening. And I felt like there was no room for me to like express that anger. And I'm realizing actually, like you're able to show up here because you're not owned by these corporations, because like you're not trying to sell yourself. It's like, no, I'm just being. If y'all like it, great. I hope you do, right? But I have to get this off my chest. So I would say human. It's just human music.
Yeah.
I don't know, like goes with the experience of being human. So I
I
appreciate that.
think I think if I don't I can't I think if you're a black woman who operates in the world as a black woman, I think you're going to Alicia Renice's music is going to speak to you. So You Deserve Ease is in my brain now, right? It just is in there. It's just over and over. I hear it. It's in my brain. Sometimes I have to be like, you should actually go listen to the song. I'll be singing it. Like let Alicia sing the song, Stephanie. You don't have to sing the song. Let her sing it. Okay, so I don't. So lately, you've been putting out music. Lately, you've been putting out EPs. Is that the hip term? EPs that are themed. We've had Rage recently. We had Feel not too long ago. Uh, I should pull it up. Well, no, y'all look it up.
Yeah, yeah. Release,
Release.
human, and yeah, and rage. Yeah, yeah.
So tell us what your let's shift into talking about your actual sabbatical. So we talked about how being a musician today means your individual like audience can support you. So I'd like to talk now about your sabbatical plan slash it's not fully a sabbatical plan because you're working on a project during the sabbatical. But tell us what you're
Yeah,
working on right now and what that's looking like. And then
yeah.
and then friends, I'll tell you how we are involved in that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking. So the EPs that I'm putting out now have been songs that I've been meaning to release, but because of perfectionism and me trying to unlearn that, I'm like, girl, just put out the music, right? Like just I have this music already. It doesn't have to be a whole to do. You don't have to shoot a music video. You don't have to do all this extra. Just put out the music, right? And so I've been trying to put them in categories that make sense to me. But overall, I'm just trying to be prolific, get it out there. Like all the stuff that I've created so far, like as like a portfolio, just put it out there, right? And not that I'm trying to like get work or whatever, but hoarding art is not good. Like we hoard art and be like, oh well, for the right time, and it's like, what better time than today, right? Like what better time than now? Like it doesn't have to be super polished. And as a singer, just as a side note, like as a singer, I know that my singing is not like other people's, and that's fine, right? It's not to say like I'm less than, but I did feel less than for a long time, and so I'm thinking like, oh, I'm always like nitpicking, like, oh, I'm a little off there, oh, it's a little cracky there, but it's also like, but Alicia, you're human. Like this is the human voice. Like the human voice is imperfect. The human voice, like I don't have perfect pitch. It is what people have it. That's great, but I don't need it to communicate what I want to communicate. So it's really like a practice of imperfection, and that imperfection is still beautiful. So I'm putting out the music. I'm putting out I'm typing up technically writings that have been in my journals for like at this point like about 2 years. So I'm trying to like type all those writings, put it together, and put it out there as a like just meditations, just thoughts that I've had, poetry, those kinds of things. And then after I release that, then I want to rest. Like I thought about, because I still want to do that. I want to travel and take pictures of Black women and get their stories, and I still am going to do that. But where I am right now, I realize that I am burnt out from just like life, right? Like it's hard to it's hard even when you're trying to put, I thought I had a book near me, but even when you're trying to put out music, there's like all these things that people say to do. You need to like write a letter to send to people to promote the music. You need to, have like promotional stuff. And like, I don't have energy for none of that. Like, I'm just very much like, it's there. I will send an email. I will hopefully send it to some people and maybe it'll get picked up. But like right now, like life, I would be moving against the waves if I would to continue like to keep pushing forward. And so like I need rest. I need rest in like every sense of the word. I need joy in every sense of the word, right? Like I need peace, I need quiet, because it's not always a season for creating. And I realize like I've been creating nonstop, like as a full-time artist since 2016,
Okay.
like just nonstop. And I'm tired. so so I think what I need is to be quiet and to sit down. And of course, like my ego is like, no, but people will forget about you. No, but you know, um, you know, things will slow down or whatever. And it's like maybe things need to slow down. Maybe things need to slow down. Maybe things need to fall apart. Maybe things need to, you know, be torn down to ground zero so you can rebuild something that is more sustainable. Um, so yeah, so I think that's my plan. I plan on traveling? I planned on traveling out the country and things like that. But I'm like, even that sometimes, like maybe I just need to go take a nap for a few weeks and like and figure out the next steps now, because you focus on, I'm seeing like again all the lovely women talk about sabbaticals and like traveling, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But when you're exhausted and traveling, it's not it's
It's
not
not.
fun.
No,
It's exhausting. Yeah.
that's exactly
Yeah.
right. No, yeah. No, sit down somewhere is the main thing. That's the main point. Now, some women do sit down somewhere in a different place, right?
Right,
But you
right,
can also sit
right.
down somewhere right where you are. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this community has a sabbatical fund. We're called the Vicarians, and the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund is a thing where whenever we get it, we give $25,000 to a Black woman creator so that she can take a sabbatical. January of 2023, we gave $25,000 to New Orleans artist Maisha Francis for her sabbatical in Rwanda. Yes, she thanks you for that, and we'll be talking soon. We're
Okay.
working out a schedule. We'll be talking here on the channel soon. We'll be catching up with Maisha very soon. Uh, the next recipient is Alecia Renece. So we've already sent her the first chunk. Instead of doing it in one chunk this time, I realized you don't have to wait, right? You don't have to wait till the end. So we've already sent the first chunk. Alecia Renece is the next recipient of the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund. When you go to vicarious.com/sabbatical fund, you see three ways to support her sabbatical, support her rest, support her time of doing hopefully as little as possible. Right now, you said right now she's still putting out some things, but there'll also be some time of doing nothing. And we support all of that. We support it. We do, because for a lot of different reasons. First, we're humans and we need rest. And if we want a world where you get paid to rest, we can create that. Another world is possible, right? Also, if we want more music from people, we should support them in resting and doing less and not burn them out, right? If we enjoy Alicia Renice's music or somebody else's and this person's art, then we should give them money so that they can have time to restore, recharge, refresh, and then keep making art for us to enjoy, to be singing around the house, right? To ourselves, to nobody in particular. Yeah. So at vicarious.com/sabbatical fund, you'll see three ways to support Alicia Renece. The first is through my Patreon community. Patreon.com/vicarious. All the money from Patreon goes to the sabbatical fund, and all that money is going to Alicia until we hit 25K. The second is Alicia directly through coffee. The coffee link, Alicia's coffee link is on that page as well. If you don't want it to have to pass through me, or if you don't want it to be a monthly thing, you can give it to Alicia directly. That's perfect. The third one is some merch. There's merch that we sell on this channel. If you're in the United States, you may see some merch below this video. The profit from the merch also goes to the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund, which is going to Alecia Renece. All right. Yeah. So the other things, so we've talked about you giving up, or we've given up the American dream. We've given up traditional jobs. We've also given up, like, I said, home. But I don't mean home, but I just mean we've given up being tied to a place, a house. So I think, are you still, or have you did I miss it? Are you about to, or have you recently done some car camping?
Okay, yes. So I did. First of all, I want to say thank you. I want to thank you to all the you and all the Vicarians. I really appreciate that, and everyone for being supportive and kind and helping me to rest, because I think you brought up a great point, and I do want to answer your question, but you brought
Yeah.
up a great point about like creation and how even as a creator, sometimes it could feel like if you're not creating all the time, then you're not an artist or you're not a creator, and it's like in the creation process, you need time to rest, you need time to be, you need time to gather experiences from life to be able to then make that into art to share with other people. But if you're always creating, then you're not living, right? You're hustling and grinding. It's the same thing, you know? So
That's exactly right.
this is like, this is life changing, and this is life changing work. So I appreciate you are also a possibility model for me, to be able to help other Black women creatives in the future. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
You're very
Yes.
welcome. Our
So,
pleasure. We love it. We love it. We love you.
oh,
Yes.
thank you. Oh, thank you so much. But yes, car camping. There last year, me and my husband, we traveled from Maryland to California because I had never been to California. And before that, we had an RV. And so RVs are expensive. They eat up gas. So we would get maybe 11 miles, 11 miles per gallon. Like, it's bad. It was bad.
That's
And so
not.
I'm like, that's not going to work. So we have a Prius, a Toyota Prius. And I had been mentioning that I wanted to car camp for a minute. Like, I was like, first of all, I love cozy spaces. I love building forts. It's like, it's a thing. And so, I was like, oh my gosh, like that'd be so cool to be able to travel the world and like go to California. And my husband's like, let's do it. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we packed our bags. We put like a little mattress in the back of the Prius. And so from Maryland we got as far as the Redwood Forest, which is something I've always wanted to go see, and I finally got to go see it, and I'm just like, it was breathtaking. Oh, it was breathtaking. But we got to the Redwood Forest and we came back, and so we were able to make the car our home. And of course, like in between, like sometimes we would stop at hotels, especially like if I was on my period or something. Like I don't want to be in a car when I'm on my cycle, so we would go to a hotel. But I was able to figure out like actually like having a home, and home like can mean different things, but having a house, like a stable house, like a fixed place, for me is actually not that important.
Yeah.
Like it's actually not. First of all, when we were RVing, I was the happiest I had ever been. Like being able to just at some point we were boondocking, which is basically like no hookups, no nothing. Like you're just out there in the wild in Colorado, Durango, Colorado. You should go there. Everybody should check out Durango, Colorado if you can.
Okay.
But Durango, Colorado, yeah, we were out there in the middle of the woods, and it was just so serene. And of course, because you don't have any running water, like, well, you have running water, but you have to keep it, like you have to manage it. So we weren't taking showers. It is what it is. We weren't taking showers. We did the whole like wash up thing, like the towelettes and all this other stuff. But I really realized like simple is good for me. Like I like having all of my belongings in this one space, everything that I need here, and being able to take that anywhere that I want. And it wasn't like so heavy. It wasn't something to manage, you know. And so again, talking about mourning that American dream, like the big house, right? The big house with the yard and the fence. It's like actually the world is my house. Like the world, like the entire world is my home. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I have things with me that remind me of home, but like home for me are my people. Home for me is the food that I like to eat, is the music I like to listen to, like the communities that I'm part of. And being able to take all of that on the road with me was life changing. It was life changing because you realize you actually don't need as much as you think you need to be content and happy. And having less for me, and it's not for everybody, but having less for me is less anxiety, less keep up of things. Like in the RV that we had, we didn't have any fancy slide outs or anything like that. Sorry if I'm on a tangent. Also, I'm
We're
talking, but
listening. We're with you. Don't
okay.
apologize. We're in.
We didn't have any fancy slide outs. It was nothing like fancy. It was like, this is the RV. You have the cab where you drive, the overhead thing where you can sleep, but we just stored stuff up there. You have the dinette, the kitchen, the toilet, and the bed in the back. And that was the most at peace I had been. If something broke in our RV, and it did, we had tires pop. We had what do you call it? The pipes. So pipes are like made with PVC pipe, so
Okay.
it's easy to break. So
Okay.
when our tire popped, it broke the PVC pipe, so we were leaking water, but we fixed it. And you feel good about that because you're like, oh my god, look, we did a thing! Like
Yeah.
look at us, we're doing things.
Uh-huh.
And it was just a very simple and quiet life,
Yeah.
and I really, 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 I miss that. So I want to get back on the road. All that to say, like, I want to get back to car camping, because being in nature, like, there's nothing like it. And then also being able to travel, because with the Prius, it's a what is it? Oh my gosh, the word's escaping me. Hybrid. It's a
I,
hybrid car.
huh?
So yes, so it doesn't eat up as much gas. And it's not conventional because you still got to figure out places to like use the bathroom. You still got to figure out places to shower and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's worth it to me. Like it's worth it. So yeah, so home for me is not just like a house. It's not like a place. I mean, there are places that I feel like at home, like here in the DMV or like in Philly or Florida with my family. But again, like the world. Like, oh, I can, as long as I have myself, my well-being, my people, like whether on phone or whatever, I'm good. Like I'm fine. So yeah,
Yeah, so
loved it.
I've been without a place of my own, like a house, home, apartment, whatever of my own since 2015. I've been pretty no, I've not pretty. I've been nomadic since 2015. The other day, Rashida was like, "Is there a person we can interview about being a nomad?" I'm like, "Girl, me." I've been nomadic since 2015. It's like with other things in life. It's like the way I can compare it is like when you go through a phase. I don't know if anybody has ever done this. When you go through a phase when you know you're eating junk. You're eating McDonald's every day. There was a time in my life when I would eat McDonald's for breakfast and lunch and dinner, right? If I was going through some things, if there is a time when you're doing that, that can become your baseline, right? And then one day you start eating real healthy food and you're like, oh, actually, I need a whole lot less food than I thought I needed because it's actually doing something for me. It's kind of like that with the house thing. When you have a house, you got to fill up every room, right? Every bedroom, every nook and cranny, every corner. You got to add in shelves. The garage is full of stuff. The basement is full of stuff. You have a storage unit full of stuff. But when you don't have that anymore, you can really understand how little you need of the stuff, right? And how little it matters, how much you don't miss it, right? How you don't miss that stuff. It's 2024, so we're going on nine. In September, it would be 9 years. I'm not going to make it that far, but in September, it would be 9 years without me having my own home. And I'm just getting to the point where, like, I would like my own coffee mugs, right? Silverware and coffee mugs are a thing that I miss. I miss opening the drawer and find really just really pretty silverware, right? It took me almost 9 years to get to that point of not caring that I don't have stuff. I don't have a house. I don't have my own stuff. I don't have that. I don't have it. I bought probably in my parents' house. I have a bedroom. I bought two lamps. Almost everything in that house is their stuff. I bought two lamps and a new mattress. Right? Everything else, I didn't want it. I didn't need it. I didn't buy it. Um, and it's felt really nice to be without that stuff. I wouldn't call myself a minimalist. Well, let's see. Would you say so? To be a person who has enjoyed car camping, you probably lean towards the minimalist side, or is that not right? Is that too much?
Um, I think, and again, there are people who are like devout minimalists. So
Yeah.
like, but I think I lean more towards like essentialism, which is like I think the same thing maybe. But like, what is essential? Like, what do you really need? Like, let's like, and it can be things like, do you like if you enjoy the coffee mug, for example, take the coffee mug, right? Like you don't have to like not have it to like be a minimalist. So like I think for me, like trying to figure out like what is essential to like what I actually love and need. And like on that list, a lot of that stuff had nothing to do with what I own, but like nature, free time, like open space, conversations with people that I love. And I do have some things like I need my loop station because I want to make music, right? So even car camping, I took my loop station and I made loops in different places across the country, you know. So I think yeah, so I think that that's more like what is essential. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Are you a friend of animals? Do you like cats and dogs or dogs?
I do like them.
Okay.
I prefer cats. I prefer cats. I like dogs too, but I feel like dogs require a lot of attention. And so like sometimes I'm like I don't know how to like how do I keep you entertained all the time? You know what I mean?
Have you
But
thought
yeah,
about
but I like animals. I like animals.
have you thought about
Mhm.
house sitting? You mentioned like
I
sometimes
have.
when y'all were car camping, you would stay in a hotel or whatever. Anytime
Yeah.
anybody says the H word, the hotel, the word hotel, I'd be like, "Did you think
Yes.
about house sitting?"
Yes, yes. So when we were car camping before, we it was before I actually applied for a I think it might have been before I applied. And
Okay.
so now I have to like renew my membership, but I think I want to try it with like a few kitties first to
Yeah.
try out. And I'm also have anxiety sometimes like I want to do well. I want you've entrusted me with your animals, with your you know fur babies. I
Uh-huh.
want to do well by them and as somebody who didn't grow up with with animals like my mom she not
Yeah.
here for it. She don't want no dogs, no cats. We've had goldfish, you
Uh-huh.
know. So I want to, and I've house sat before. Let me actually take that back. I have house sat for my friend before. I've watched her dog for her for like a week or so, and that was cool. But I also knew him. His name is Boss, so I also knew Bossy. So like I think if we can build a rapport, then I can like warm up to it and be like, okay, this is fine, you
Uh,
know.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think house sitting is a wonderful way for people who are like, I'm sick of this house or I'm sick of this city or whatever. House sitting is a
Yeah.
nice way to give yourself freedom. For what house sitting meant for me was I could see a house sit on the platform on Trusted House Sitters somewhere in the world and I could just be there. I could just go there, right? And spend a week, a month, however many days in that house. It was really freeing. It's the reason why I didn't feel any kind of way about not having my own house because I could, if I had my own house, I probably couldn't be in the Netherlands and Palm Springs, California, and where Mexico, wherever, house sitting. So it's a wonderful. If anybody is listening today and you're like, I want to try some of that freedom, I think house sitting is a wonderful way. We started off talking about how there's no real path when you're doing things this different way. There's no real path. House sitting though, there is a path. It's more of a
Yeah.
for those of you who want a little more like of a path, a little more secure, not security, maybe security, a little more
Yeah. Yeah.
predictability. House sitting is a wonderful thing to give a try. My new house
Mhm.
sitter toolkit, I'll link to it in the description. It's housesit.vicarious.com/toolkit. It's just a free download, gives you information about house sitting and some other tools, some in my letter to get house sits and all of that, all of that, all of that. Okay. All right. Yeah. So we talked about giving up. We've both given up the American dream. We've both given up the traditional job thing. We've given up the traditional home thing. You have alternated on a thing that I want to talk about next if we have some time. I want to talk about hair. We you have made some really amazing videos recently about Black women and hair and about your hair as a Black woman. So you have gone from I need long hair to be beautiful to I don't need any hair to be beautiful. I've already asked this one time, but was that a switch that flipped?
Yeah, so it was a process. It was a process, I think. So first of all, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. The
Oh,
Yay! That makes me happy. I that was like the longest video I ever did, and I was like, I'm just gonna put it out there. We're gonna try whatever. Let's see. But I wanted to talk about that because it's been something that I've been thinking about for a long time. Like our relationship with our hair, my relationship with my hair, like has been really impactful in my life with like how I show up and how I take up space. And yes, like I thought as a child, like growing up, like seeing video vixens and all these other people, magazine, pictures, like, oh, you have to have, in order to be beautiful, right? To be seen as a model, to be, pretty, you have to have long hair, light skin, light eyes, like colorism, texturism, all the things. And trying to pursue that actually did more damage than good. And even to my hair, like trying to pursue that beauty standard damaged not just me but my hair.
Yeah.
And then I went through so many phases. In high school, somebody offer like to cut my hair, like, hey, like you don't have to actually hold on to these permed, damaged ends. You can cut them and your hair would actually be healthier. So she cut it. I got braids, went to college, and then at some point I had locks, and I was like, you know what, I'm tired of the first thing people saying to me is I love your hair. Because even though I did locks, because first of all, I don't like combing my hair. I hate it. I don't like doing my hair. So I was like, oh, let me just lock it. Let me give my hair what it wants. It's like my hair wants each other. So let me just put my hair together and form locks. And it's not working against how my hair grows out of my head. But the problem was, like, at some point, I did have long locks. And so people were equating, oh, you have long locks, so you're past like the ugly phase. You're pretty now because you have like long locks. You have locks in a way that are presentable to us. And so then I'm like, I'm actually tired of it because it felt like, again, like it felt like, and I said that in the video, it felt like it was theirs and not mine anymore. Like it felt like I was still performing and having to show up a certain way. So I cut it all off. And I'm so glad that I did that because I was scared as I don't know what, because I knew cutting off my hair, and that's something that I mentioned, is like cutting off like your connection to the West's perception of femininity and beauty. And with femininity and beauty, you being seen as feminine and beautiful, you're offered certain protections and certain priorities, like above other people, like you're prioritized above other people. And I'm just like, okay, cutting this hair is like a conscious decision to be like, I am mine. I am mine. And so when I cut my hair, it really put me in a place where I had to learn to like myself. I had to learn to get used to my own features and to see myself as beautiful outside of their definition of what beauty is, because I am beautiful and I have always been beautiful, but in pursuit of beauty in their way, it made me feel ugly.
Yeah.
And then I realized like, oh, beauty is not actually what they think it is. Their definition of beauty is so superficial and shallow, and like you're trying to like, it was this weird existence because on one hand they're telling you what beauty is, but on the other hand, like I see beautiful women all the time who don't fit the standard. So
Right.
like what exactly is this? And I'm still trying to pursue this. And I'm like, actually no, I'm beautiful. I am beautiful, period. Like not because, not with, not, when I wear this. It's like, no, I'm beautiful, period. And beauty doesn't start with you seeing me. It doesn't start with you perceiving me. Like I am beautiful because I exist. Like my whole existence is beautiful. Like I'm getting chills talking about that. Like the fact that I have cells working together, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, like I have cells working together to keep me healthy and whole, even as I'm sick right now, but like trying to, like my cells right now are working together to try to heal
Yeah.
me. That's beautiful.
Right. That's right.
And how dare I say that any part of this being is not. Anyway, so
So Alicia will
anyway,
marvel at things. Can marvel at things and have you looking like, oh, that is amazing. One time you talked on your channel about how trees are interconnected, right? How trees are in community with each other. That their root system, I didn't know this, right? I've dug into the internet after that. The root system of trees is interconnected, and a tree that's struggling gets support through the roots through other trees in that system, right? And so Alicia will have you marveling at stuff. You'd be like, I never noticed that. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh, I have a fever because I'm sick. That is beautiful. That fever is trying to protect me. You're really good at marveling at things and not taking things for granted. I think that that's a pathway to joy. I think that that's I don't know which is the beginning, which came first. I don't know which came first, but that's
Stephanie.
joy. I love the way you do that. You'll just be like, such and such, and that's beautiful. And I'll be like, it is. Now let me watch 6 hours of YouTube videos about tools and systems. Thanks, Alicia.
That's funny. You're welcome. Thank you for sharing that. I really, because sometimes I feel it's so good to be affirmed. Like it's so good to be seen and to be, because I know that I could be spacey, and even trying to change my language around
Yeah.
that, like marveling as opposed to being spacey. Like, oh, like I can go on a whole tangent, like, oh my god, like that's crazy. Like I'm looking at this money tree, and like every single one has 5 leaves. That's nuts. How does it know? Like, so like I'll go into like these different things, and sometimes people can be like, okay, girl, you know what I mean? Like, all right, that's enough. But it's really good to be in company with people who are like, no, I appreciate that, you know. So I appreciate you, Stephanie, for saying that. I appreciate that.
You don't know what people are into. You don't know how much community you have with people until you start telling people, until you start talking, right? Someone commented earlier, I wish I had saved it, that your vulnerability is your gift, right? That you're, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was or how to find it. But that's right. We could go through life being so protected of our, protecting ourselves. We could go through life that way. Somebody once called me spacey, and so now out loud, I don't go off on tangents anymore. Or somebody once said this about me, and so now I don't do that anymore. We could go through life like that, but what's the point? Instead, once you open up, man, like you find community. I'm not joking when I say Alicia's got super fans. Alicia's got gang, right? And that it's because Alicia is open and sharing and giving with boundaries, I'm sure, right? We got boundaries, but open and sharing, and that's a thing that I learned from you. I'm learning that from you. Also, once you said you wanted to be prolific, I wrote that down. Okay, so in the future, that's not my word for this year. But in the future, if my word is prolific, it came from you. Because I also want to be, I never really thought of it as now I'm on a tangent, I never really thought of it as hoarding art, right? Or hoarding whatever, hoarding art, hoarding beauty, hoarding care for each other. I never really thought about it as hoarding it, but I did feel like it would be a waste if what was in here didn't come out. And so I love seeing you. I appreciate you started out the year saying, I want to be prolific. That's when I heard you say it. You started out the year saying, I want to be prolific. And I was like, I'm taking off, right? Saying,
Yes.
I don't want to, I don't want to waste whatever is in here. I don't
Yeah.
want any of us to waste whatever that is.
Yeah, I love that because even that, like the fear sometimes it's like, oh, if I share all the things and I'll have nothing else left, and it's like that's not how none of this works. Like when you share things, when you put things in circulation, it actually creates more of it, right? When you create, like even the more I create, every song I make, I don't share, right? Like every song that I make, I don't have to share with other people, but like it's with the creation of even the songs that I don't like that other songs that I do like come, right? It's and even that idea of like prolificness, I think came from like Jeff
Okay.
Goins.
Yeah.
I think,
Real
I
artists don't.
think it's that idea.
Yeah.
Yes, like being prolific, and like my husband brought that up to me, like prolificness over perfection. Like again, do you want to be? And I had to ask myself, like, do I want to be human or do I want to be perfect? Like,
Right.
and what feels better to me? It's like I want to be human. And so
Mhm.
with humanity, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make stuff that people don't like. You're gonna make stuff that you don't like. And even still, those things still deserve to exist. Those things still deserve to be praised and to be seen if you want it to be seen.
That's right.
But yeah, like, but being prolific, like, is what I'm focused on because you get to the I use quotes, good stuff. All of it is good, but you get to like the good stuff by working through the stuff that you don't like. And a lot of people don't like working through the stuff that you don't like. I don't. I hate it. Like I hate having to go, like, I don't want to do things I'm not good at. I hate that. But like in order to get good at it, you got to work through the stuff that's not cute, that's not pretty. So
That, that's right. Yeah. So earlier
yeah.
you said the practice of imperfection. I love it, right? I say perfection is not my brand. Okay? Perfection is not my brand, so I'm not required to bring it. There are things that are on brand for me. Okay? Some things, speaking to Black women with loving kindness, I hope that that is on brand for me. But perfection, not my brand. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to try to be it, to be that. Not my brand.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like you set yourself free, right? Like you I love that. I love that.
hmm That's right. Yeah. So, lots of note taking in the chat today. Lots of like wonderful takeaways that you've given us. So, thank you very much. But we're not done. We're not done. I'm not wrapping up yet. Okay. So we've rejected and so hair. So, are we done with? I think we did. We did it with the hair conversation. We are the. If anything is in the way of you really feeling beautiful, is it's in the way. It's an obstacle. I'm there, right? I'm there. My hair is mostly not mostly gray, but there's a lot more gray hair than I want. Um, and I'm like at a crossroads. I'm at a crossroads with my hair. I don't think right now I have the brain space to solve that problem. I think right now I'm just going to keep going the way I'm going. So I'm at a crossroads, but I think I'm going to keep going straight for now. But once I get a little more brains, once I cross a few things off of my list, I think that's a problem that I'm going to have to solve for myself. Because even though I wear my natural hair out in the world, and I wear my natural hair the way it looks out in the world, I'm still like in a box. I'm in a hair box that I don't want to be in. I don't want to be in. So that's a problem for me to solve I think at a later date. I'm gonna hold on. I'm just
Yeah.
keep going forward for now.
Is is it that you so when you talk about your grays, is it that you're between accepting the gray and like okay, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Dyeing gray hair, high maintenance, not like me at
Mm,
all. Right? It's the most high
okay.
maintenance thing that I do. Even though, everybody was like, what are you talking about? You dye your hair twice a year, right? But still, thinking about it and saying,
Yeah.
oh, I need to dye this hair. Look at this, and right. It's the most high maintenance thing that I do. And as a person who is embracing ease, it's the least easy part right for now, right? So there will be a time when I'll be like, okay, I'm giving over to this. I don't want that. I don't want it to be, I'm beautiful without gray hair and I'm not beautiful with gray hair. That's ridiculous because more of my life is going to be lived with gray hair than not gray hair. I hope, right? Because I don't think I'm at the
Okay.
I don't think I'm halfway yet, right? Yeah.
No.
Oh, so it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous for me to be so like afraid of being in the world with gray hair. So it's a thing that I'm gonna have to get over. I'm gonna have to work on it.
Yeah.
But that is my hair struggle. It's not the natural
Yeah.
hair. It's not the TWA. It's not the whatever. It's the grayness of the hair, and what that
Yeah.
says about me. What I think it says about me, and what it really says about me. All it says about me is that there are hair strands that have lost melanin or whatever, right? It doesn't say anything else about me other than that. But in my mind, I hear not just old, right? Because old in
Mhm.
itself is not too harsh. It's not all that insulting. There are young people, there are old people. But what
Mhm.
I hear is useless, out of time, right? Washed up, unneeded, not needed in
Mhm.
the world, right? I mean, that's a me problem. That's not a gray hair problem. That's a problem I
Yeah.
have to fix in here. Whether I have gray hair or not, I'm not solving that problem.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, even when you're talking about like what it says about you, it didn't come from you, right? Like it came from the message out there, you know. So I mean it makes and I'm just saying like I get it. I get it because like ageism is a thing, especially for women. Like men are allowed to age, men are allowed to gray, men are allowed to be distinguished. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the words that we use for aging men.
That's
But for
right.
aging women, it's like, oh, because you're past using quotes prime, which I don't believe in. You're past your prime, or oh, you're older now, you're even the way that they talk about age and like women is very like auction block. Y'all need to like we need to confront this, but like it's very much like you've lost your
Value.
usefulness to men, right? Like not to the world, to men, right? Like, and so men have determined that, oh, you're no longer useful to me. But it's like, even when I look around, like the people that I'm around, the people that I'm like in relationship to, like in relationship with, excuse me, are like women of all ages. Like, I love my elders. I love, my aunties, my mom, like my grandparents, like all these different things. And it's just like, it's just because of patriarchy, like
Yeah.
we become afraid to age and to
Yeah.
show any signs of aging.
Yes.
Yeah.
It requires
Yeah.
some pretty radical action, right? You used the word revolutionary, right? It requires really radical action to reject these things. It's not, yeah, pretty radical. You've done you are a pretty radical chick, I think, also. You've done some radical stuff that helps me be like, this is the thing I need to work on.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, it's going to require some pretty radical action, some unlearning, right? Rachel Cargle, some unlearning, some all of that, all
Hmm.
of that.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
same.
and you know what? But I don't really have too much concern for what men think of me, so maybe it'll be easier than I think. Maybe
Yes.
it'll be easier than I thought. Now that you mention it, now that I've said it out loud, maybe it'll be easier
Yes.
than I thought it was. So I think hopefully you're okay with time. Hopefully.
Oh yeah,
Because
I'm
I want to
good.
talk
I'm
about one
good.
more thing that we have given up in pursuit of our own joy, and that is Black excellence. So we talked about the
Hmm.
American dream. I would like to sandwich this conversation with Black excellence. American dream is a very specific thing, but so is Black excellence. There is a lot of intertwinedness, right? A lot of overlap, but they're also very different. The idea for me, what Black excellence is an attempt to be seen as worthy to white people. That's my short, abbreviated understanding of Black excellence. It's a way, it is the notion that we should attempt to be seen as more valuable, more worthy to white people, and we do that by emulating whiteness physically and also by overachieving and doing things that they would say make us one of the good ones. I think Black excellence always means that most of us are going to sink, right? Black excellence, it's not possible for Black excellence to thrive and everybody thrive. Black excellence is always going to push most of us, most Black people, most Black women to the margins. And so I reject it wholeheartedly. I don't want to live my life for the gaze of other people, for the eyeballs of other people, especially not white people, especially. So I've rejected it. And what that looks like for me is, for one, having a job that people really don't understand, right? Or doing work. I don't know, we rejected traditional jobs, but I do work that people don't quite understand. It's not the kind of work where people would be like, oh, she's one of the good ones, right? She's a doctor, she's an engineer, she's an attorney, right? She's one of the good ones. We'll esteem her up here. Instead, I'm a house sitter, and I don't even get house sits are unpaid. I saw the comment in here earlier. Most house sits are unpaid, right? I talk on YouTube. I talk a lot, and I house sit, right? And that is my work. That's the work that I do, and that is a way that I say I'm not going to let Black excellence run my life.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you,
I,
do you see a difference? Do you see a difference between the American dream and Black excellence? So you're from DC, where I'd say you're from the DC area, the DMV,
yeah.
where probably
Yeah.
there's Black excellence probably superseded the American dream as what was
Yes.
the path.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I live in PG County. I'm from PG County. And PG County is supposed to be like the wealthiest black county. At this point, I think there might be a different county close by that's surpassing us at this point. But it's supposed to be like where people are the wealthiest. I have questions, but anyway, but it's supposed to be the wealthiest
Right? Right? Because where is the
county,
money?
black
Where did the
county.
money go? Right?
How I'm looking around like where, but there are people who like live in mansions and stuff like that. It's not me, but they're here, so they raise the average for people who make money. But here, like you have people from all walks of life. You have like white collar jobs, blue collar jobs. You have people who are teachers, but a lot of people who live here work in the government,
Yes.
and like that's why they're here. So they work in the government. They're in the military. A lot of people I know are teachers.
Uh-huh.
So this area, like especially when you go to like DC brunch, is very much like Black excellence brunch. It's very much like Rock Nation. You know what I'm saying? Like people putting out the best of the best. And so I used to. There's a bookstore in the DMV area called Busboys and Poets,
Uh-huh.
and so it's like a so okay. So it's it's supposed to be for the people. I have thoughts about that store, but I'll save my thoughts for later. But it's supposed to be like people come together there for like Black excellence brunch. Like people go to brunch there. So like I used to work there and seeing the people that came in there, like you would have politicians,
Mhm.
you would also have like writers, like which was dope. That was the best part of the job. Like Alice Walker came one time and like Intozaki Shang,
Uh-huh.
but like all these like different authors and things like that would come. Angela Davis. So like you're there like, oh my God, this is amazing. But at the same time, you see the disparity between the people working at the place and the people who are benefiting from whatever, whatever Black excellence esque thing that they're coming there for. And so I think seeing, as a person who experienced poverty, seeing those people come in and like having politicians coming to me as a person who worked there to be like, oh, gentrification for DC is great, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, well, we're trying to raise, basically, we're
Mhm.
trying to raise DC to be a better place. And at the time, I was living in Southeast DC, they were gentrifying it. So being from this place where it is so, and then Howard is down the street, you have, and shout out, to HU, I see y'all, but there's a lot of pressure. Like visiting the campus, you're like the indoctrination, and I mean no harm. The indoctrination when you go to the campus and you're seeing them do like their orientation, it's really about presentation. It's really about presenting yourself like, you must respect me. I am such and such from this place. I'm majoring in this. Like it's very like I'm trying to prove, like you said, prove my worth to people. And I think I just got tired of it. And like this is actually just internalized anti-blackness.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's what I realized like Black excellence is. It's internalized, like when we're having conversations. And the reason why I say like I see people from all walks of life in the DMV area is because say in a place, and I'm not gonna name no places, but in certain places, you'll see people who people would see are less respectable,
Yeah.
right? The person wearing the bonnet at the grocery store,
Yeah.
the people who are allowed on the bus or whatever, like they're not allowed to talk and be expressive. And we see these things, these Black expressions as less than us. And like,
Yes.
oh, I must be refined. I
Yes.
must be put together. Like I'm not allowed, I can't come out my house looking any kind of way. Like that stuff is taught to you as a child. So like when you're out in space, and you're living, like you're just observing. I just like observing people. You see that if you don't present yourself in a certain way, you get treated with less respect, less kindness. You're given less grace, right? You're seen as those people, like
Yeah.
those bad Blacks, those bad Black people,
That's
as
right.
opposed to like, I worked hard for this thing. I'm from this. I went to this school. I have this degree. I have this job. I make this money. I wear nice clothes and fancy things. And it's like, yeah, but at what cost?
Right.
Like at what cost? Like do you have to cut off half of yourself to be accepted by certain people? Like, and if that is the cost, not everybody wants to play that game. Not everybody wants to pay that price. They're not less than you just because they don't want to play that game. And also they're more free in my mind. The people who are not playing the game of Black excellence are more free than you who are looking down on them because they
Yeah.
don't care nothing about what you think about them. And I
That's
love that for them.
that's right.
Like I love that. So being from this area, it's really like ingrained in everything. Like test scores, you got to have the best test scores and you got to get into the best colleges. And even in high school, like not going to college wasn't even an option. Like
Right.
it wasn't, it's like, no, you will go to college. And a lot of our teachers were either from Howard or, local campuses, a lot of HBCUs, but it's still, even in the HBCU, it's still a lot of like Black excellence. Like you have to be better.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that
Absolutely.
made any sense.
Yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And then so you can go all in on Black excellence and you can look
Yeah.
down, you can marginalize other Black people. Uh,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
still not going to save you,
Hmm.
right? You're
It's
not
not.
going to win. You can't win. You can't win. You can play the Black excellence game, but you're
Hmm.
not going to win. It's not going to
Hmm.
save you from the harm that white people can do to you in a second. It's not going to
Mm.
save you from any. There's no. Even if you win at Black excellence, you don't win. You can't win.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. If we're defining, and I wrote down isolation because when you said like even if you win, let's say that you are the special one, like you get ahead, you have no community. You like, what does it cost you? Like, you have no one, you have no allies. Like, especially like in the workplace, a lot of times it seems there can only be one. Like, there
Yeah.
can only be one token black, right? Like, oh, we've met our diversity requirements. It is what it is. And at this point, they're throwing away diversity anyway. So like,
Right.
we've like we've met the requirement, and we actually don't care about you. We're using you as a pawn, as a, oh, look at us, we're progressive. Like, we're using you as a product. Like, we're using you as a product,
It's
as
a
a
token.
token. Yes, yes. And so when you are in those spaces with these people who are violent, like, and it doesn't have to be physical violence, but with people who are violent, you have no one in your corner with you who can mirror back to you, be like, you're actually not crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No, they are being a passive aggressive. It's not in your head, right?
Yeah.
Like those are the people, like, and I think it's interesting too, like, in workspaces and in very white spaces, it's a very passive aggressive space, and it makes you feel like you're losing your mind. Like, it
Mhm.
makes you feel like, am I tripping? Did I misinterpret that? And a lot of the reason why a lot of people will say like black people are aggressive. Black people are blunt. Black
Yeah.
people don't have time. Like, I said what I said and I meant what I said. The society we live in is very much like, I'm gonna be nice about it, but I'm not gonna be kind. I'm gonna be nice, but like, I'm still gonna tear you down and like be underhanded and stuff like that. And so you have no one, again, to be your ally, to fight for you. So in my mind, it's like, what are you really winning besides like approval from these white people who don't care nothing about you in the first place?
Yes.
And they will use you to be like, and I don't like when people say that to me. Going back, Rashni Glamzini, she had a live talking about I'm not black, right? And so I had this coworker, she was Haitian, and she basically said to me, Alicia, you are different. You're not like those black people. Like, you're not like those black people. I also understand like the privilege that I have, and I say this because I know how to code switch because my mom taught me how to code switch. I know how to navigate professional spaces because my mom prepared me for navigating professional spaces. But when she said that to me, it's like, it was an insult to me because you're not going to use me to look down on other people. You're not going to do that. Like, we are the same. Like, we are the same. Just because somebody has a harder time with code switching or like putting on a professional voice than me does not mean that they're less than I am.
Or choose
Also, like,
flat out just
or
chose.
choose not to. Or choose, because why should they we worked in a hospital. Why should they have to code switch in a hospital to receive
Right.
care?
Right. Because the engineer who is from Asia is not masking his accent at all. He's from China. He sounds like a person who speaks Mandarin
Yep.
and is now
Yep.
speaking English, and nobody's got a
Yes.
problem with it.
No one. No one. It's like, we really have to be honest that we've been taught to hate ourselves and to
Yeah.
hate fellow black people. We got
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yes.
We've been taught to see ourselves as bottom of the barrel, as less than, even saying stuff like, I got to work twice as hard to get half as far. Like, we're like, I reject that. I'm not working twice as hard as nobody. I'm working, I'm doing what you
If
asked me to do, and I'm going home. Like,
if
sorry, go
you
ahead.
are living your life that way, I got to say this. Every time somebody says it, I have to say this. If you are living your life that way, I got to work twice as hard for half as much. You are an agent of white supremacy.
Mm,
If you're operating as if that is the case, you're an agent
mm-hmm,
of white supremacy. You can reject,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
do less.
yeah. And you know what's wild is very interesting. We praise when we say stuff like that. When we say like, oh, you know, I'm not like those black people. I'm not, you know, I'm different or whatever. Oh, you're not professional. This is not professional. Also look at the definition of those words when we say stuff like that. But also, like, when we say stuff like that, why are we platforming and lifting up a system that is oppressive, violent, destructive? Like, we're like, when you're talking about upholding white supremacy or like being an agent of white supremacy, it's like, when you are platforming, you don't even like working at that job. You hate how hard they work you. You know what I'm saying? You hate that you can't express yourself, but you're going along with and oppressing other people and talking down to other people. It's like, it's making your life hard, but also the humanity, like, you're taking the humanity away from people. And I don't think we realize how destructive these professional settings, well, give me the words, like, these professional settings are built on slavery.
Yes, yes.
These professional, like, they're built on slavery, the enslavement of your ancestors. That's what these corporations are built off of. That's what the model is built off of. So for you to say that you are better because you better fit in their professional setting is like you're saying you're a great overseer. You're
Yes.
a great like you know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
and you know whatever.
That's it.
I'm trying not to use like
Right.
yes. Okay.
Right.
Period. That's
Right.
it.
It's like the people
Yes.
who are so proud to be black capitalists. Like, baby, you the capital. Okay.
Hello, you are the capital. Yes.
You're not a capitalist. You're the capital.
You're not. A lot of people who say that they're capitalists, it's like you're working from paycheck to paycheck. You are not a capitalist. I'm so sorry. You're not a capitalist. So sorry. So sorry to break it to you.
That's it. Yeah. So I see on here. I just want to. Oh, did it go by too fast? I saw a comment that
Oh
says I
no.
choose the code switch because listen, I can't have the people in my business. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
We.
Gatekeep.
I,
Gatekeep.
I'm not opposed to the code switch. I'm not because
No.
they don't need. They know too much already with the internet. They've been exposed to too much already. They don't need to be all up in our business. There should be.
Absolutely.
We should keep a form of communication that is ours.
Yes.
It's a legitimate African American vernacular English is a
Mm-hmm.
legitimate
Mm-hmm.
form of communication that we should hold on to. And we don't
Yep.
need they don't need to be all up in it.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. There's a documentary coming out called this is like inside, but Black Twitter. Like I saw it yesterday and I'm like, oh no. Like
I
this
saw
I'm happy that it's torn. I'm happy because yes, Black Twitter is a thing. But we don't need everybody in our business.
no.
Black Twitter is something you understand. It's just something either you know or you don't. And it like leave it alone. Like we don't have to I think sometimes we as in like black folks I think sometimes black folks try to appeal to other people like even saying like aave or like saying aave versus ebonics right like I mean they basically mean the same thing
Yeah.
and so sometimes we try to intellectualize things
Yeah.
and it's like
That's right.
a
For
lot of black
yeah.
experience for them yes and a lot of black experiences are very spiritual like it's something it's something you feel like I talked about swag and how like someone having swag and obviously whatever people don't say that anymore but people having swag was like it was an understood thing like oh they got the sauce like there's something about them and because like white supremacist culture is very literal and very and capitalist, right? Like swag turned into things
Yeah.
as opposed to something that you embody. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like we don't have to everything don't have to be explained for them in a literal sense. It's
Mhm.
like some stuff can just be for us. We don't have to get their approval. We don't have to have a documentary that's funded by Hulu, who's run by like white folks. Like we don't have to do that. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's just a thought.
I used to watch The Wire. I've seen The Wire probably 4 or 5 times all the way through, and it used to always crack me
Yeah.
up how they never got the word "be" right, right? Because the white writers couldn't figure out how we use "be," and
Yeah.
not only that it was always wrong, but that it was always and that the black actors never fixed it in the script. They were just like, "Okay, that's how you wrote it. I'm gonna say it. Y'all don't
Oh,
know.
yes.
I'm gonna let the world know this was
No.
written by white men." Okay.
Yes. Even like what is it like the woke culture, which y'all really want to say the N-word, just say it. Like woke
Yes.
culture or or what is something else? DEI. Oh, like they obviously like our words, our language is not sacred in their mouths. Stop giving them the language that doesn't belong to them. Stop giving them yourself. And again, going to black excellence, stop giving them yourself to belong to them. You don't belong to them. And that's okay. Like you belong to yourself. Like, and that's fine. Like, but I also understand I have grace for people because if you're wanting to survive in this system, like some people don't have an option to not, right? Like, and so even I understand my privilege in being able to be like, I'm not doing all that. You know what I'm saying? But if you are in these professional settings, you kind of do. You kind of do have to play the game to get ahead. But just make sure that you don't lose yourself in that. Like, don't lose yourself in chasing. Also, you don't have to. Let me go back. I think about my ancestors who kept house. Who kept house. I'm sure that there were things that they had to mask, right? Working for those women. But when they came home, or those families, when they came home, they were very much themselves, right? Like, and I think that sometimes we forget to leave that mask at work or in the professional setting. Like we take it into everything else. And even when we look at like I was talking about Rock Nation brunch, Twitter, whatever. When we talk about like the Jay-Z's and the P. Diddy's and all these other people who are awful people. And when we talk about, and let me not say that's not nice. That's not nice. Who have not been kind in their past. When we talk about those people,
yes, who have not taken an opportunity to use their privilege in a way that would be helpful to.
Right.
We can shortcut that by saying awful people. I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay. Okay. Because I'm like, I don't know them people, but from what I hear, from what I see, they don't seem to be very nice people. But we have these people trying to emulate, like, again, oppressive systems because they think that is Black excellence. You enslaving more people is not Black anything. It's white supremacy. Like, it's not Black. Like, you just emulated your oppressor and said, like, oh, I'm gonna instead of you enslaving me, I'm gonna enslave more people, and they're gonna work for me and support like the way that I live and things like that. And it's like, no, but you're an enslaver. Like there's nothing honorable to me. Yeah. That's just me. There's nothing honorable except the survival of it. I understand the survival of Black excellence. There's nothing honorable about Black excellence. It's something that they refed to us. Yes. Like we are excellent because we are, period. Yeah. That's it. Not because somebody said so, but because we are, because we exist.
That's right.
Like you don't get here without being excellent. Like all the things, like, and I think even specifically as a descendant of enslaved people, like I don't get here without excellence. Even if my ancestors kept house, even if you know what I'm saying, like even if people work blue collar jobs, even if they drove the bus, like that is excellent. And the problem is we live in a system that looks down on service positions because we see it as less than and like servitude. But like those are the people that hold us up. Like the grocer is excellent. That's right. Because what am I gonna do without food? Like
your world falls apart without these people in your
yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so. I see some questions about what is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. The work that they always have Black women doing, the extra unpaid work they always have Black women doing on jobs. Let's see. I should be asking some questions from the community. Friends, do we have any questions that I skipped over from you? Because I've asked my own questions. Do you have an idea of what world is possible? So let's see. What is your dream world? What is your world that is possible that you're working on creating?
I love that. Oh, I love that question. Can I say something real quick?
Please.
I'm sorry if that's...
Please.
Erica De Niro TV has a phrase that she says, the illusion of white supremacy. And I want to be clear when I say that, because that to me was deep. Like it was like, they're not supreme. Like they're not supreme. They literally use other people's labor to get ahead. Like that's not excellence. That's not supreme. That's lazy. Okay. That's lazy. That's
not good at a whole lot of anything.
At anything. Like even again, the structures they create are enslaving structures because they do no work. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't know, this is a broad statement, but like the people who own the corporations, like the Spotify's, X, Y, and Z, what we were talking about earlier, they don't create the art.
No,
yeah. So
yeah. So, yes. Sometimes I'll say white supremacist ideology, right?
Right.
Thought that, right? But yeah, we get it. Yes. So white supremacy is a misnomer, but it's also a thing that we've abbreviated. We've abbreviated a whole idea into those two words. But really,
yes,
you're right. Erica is right. That's a wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. But yes, the world that I dream of, I'm just going to go off the top of my head because I've been trying to figure out how to write about this. But the world that I dream of is a world where we don't have to labor to be taken care of. Yes. We don't have to work for food and for shelter and clothing and healthcare, where everyone is able to go within to see like, what is my path? Like there are so many dreams that have not been chased or fulfilled, whatever way they can, because of other obligations to jobs and like trying to survive. Like people are just trying to survive. And because we're here at survival, it's like there's being able to dream. And I'm sitting with this feels like a privilege
Mhm.
because some people can't even fathom what they're about to eat tonight, let alone dream of what they want to do with the rest of their lives. Right. So in a world where people are cared for, people are not oppressed for any reason, their age, their gender identity, their like none of it. Like the like and also where there are reparations, right? There are reparations, there's land back, there's a lack of war, of course, like and of course, like all those things are very complicated. But in a perfect world, like we would honor each other, we would honor each other's gifts. People would have the space to be all of themselves and to be loved and to be safe and to be held sacred. And we would just I dream of a kinder world, like just people being kind just because, right? Not because you have something I want or you have something, that I can use you for, but people being kind just because it's the right thing to do. I mean, that's my perfect world. So yeah.
And that is the world that you are creating actively in
Hmm.
the work that you do. So thank you so much for doing.
Aw,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
I'm going to link friends to Alicia's YouTube channel again. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. She's Alecia Renece. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to
Thank
link
you.
again to Alicia's Bandcamp, which is where you buy her music. We talked about some platforms not being, or some platforms being greedy, okay? But Bandcamp is a more equitable platform. So this is a platform where you can go and buy her music. You can listen to her on YouTube and then go buy her on Bandcamp, buy the music on Bandcamp, okay? And
Thank
then
you.
3 ways to support Alecia Renese's sabbatical right here on at vicarious.com/sabbatical fund. You'll see the link to the Patreon community, to Alicia's own coffee link where you give her cash directly, and some merch that is also contributing to or giving the profits for the merch also goes to the sabbatical fund, which is right now going to Alicia. All right, so these are the
Thank
ways
you.
that you can dig deeper into the Alecia Renise universe. The universe where, seriously, where all of the things that she just mentioned are the ways that she is operating today. Alicia is not a person who's
Hmm.
like, oh, if I had this, I would do things so differently. But you look at her life, you're like, girl, no, you wouldn't, right? But if I was the millionaire, I would give this. I would buy it. Girl, no, you wouldn't. Okay? You wouldn't. You would do just like they're doing. No, with Alicia, we see what world is possible by the way that Alicia is already doing things today. Right? Operate. I wrote down, she wrote, the world is kind. Done. In Alicia's universe. Her channels, her content, her previous podcasts, all of it, right? Kind, check. Where people are cared for, check. Where people are operating within community with one another, check. Where people honor each other's gifts, check, right? All of these things that sounded so glorious when she said them for another world are actually already here in the Alecia Renise world, okay? So thank you for doing this, Alicia.
Stephanie, thank you. Thank you. Can I ask you the same question?
Yeah.
If
Oh, I'm just
I'd
gonna
love to
copy your answer
hear.
because you know I do as well.
Oh.
Okay. Seriously, in my world, we don't need money to live our lives. I don't know how we got here, but in my dream world, in the world that I hope that we're moving towards, it doesn't take money. I think that the idea of this community coming together and supporting one Black woman and then another is a pathway to that. It's not the only direction. This has to come from multiple directions. But right now, seeing people say, "Here, have some money, take a break, have some money, don't work for a while," I think is a way that we make that a possibility. But there are other directions. There are some things that will happen that we never even imagined that will mean at some time, hopefully, sometime in our new world, we won't have to work. It won't take money to live, right? You're alive, and so you have your basic human needs met.
Yes. I love that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that. And it's possible. It's possible. And you're doing again, you're doing amazing work with showing us what is possible. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you
I
kindly. Okay,
do.
so I know I've already wrapped up, but a thing I always forget to do is I forgot to acknowledge super chats, and we have. I hope that some of you. I hope y'all are still here. Super chats will go to Alicia Renise directly.
Oh,
Second half soldier,
thank
thank
you.
you very much for that super chat. I hope that you're still here. We really appreciate that super chat. Thank you. You may know I do this. I always forget to do this during the video. Themis, hello Themis. Thank you kindly for that super chat. He says my faves. Hi Themis,
Oh,
thank
yay.
you. Joyful one
Hello.
doing this convo. I hope you're still here. Thank you very much for that super chat. Okay, friends. All right. Okay. I think we did it, Alicia. Anything we didn't do?
No, I just want to say live with joy. That's it.
That's right.
Like that's for everybody. Joy is the way. Joy is not a privilege. It also don't have to be $1 million vacations or whatever. It can be. You know what I'm saying? People say money doesn't make you happy. Having money makes you happy, okay? But like it doesn't have to be those things. Like find joy, like pleasure in little things. Like linger over your tea. Go outside. Look at a tree. You know what I'm saying? Like joy, the invitation for joy is everywhere, but we just got to be present enough to experience it. So
Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to suffer to experience joy.
That's great. I think a thing that we can learn from you, and we can take away from you today, is when we experience something that gives us joy, it's okay to say out loud. To experience that thing and tell it, say it out loud, to let people know
Yeah.
this is incredible. Marvel over
Yeah.
something. I think that's a pathway to joy. I think Alicia is showing us the way.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. There's a lot of I don't but there's a lot of like masking I feel like I've done like even when you're talking about like marveling and going on tangents like when you were talking earlier like oh she's spacey or she's doing too much like because I've heard that so much it's like oh I'm going to withhold what I want to say to people and sometimes like even again say about nature or people like sometimes I want to be like oh my god I love you like you're amazing like this is and I don't want people to be like oh girl you relax like you're doing too much it's like no I really feel it I'm serious right so even like in this conversation there have been times wanting to get up and be like you know what I'm saying but to try
Oh,
to
so you don't need to hold back here. So I have been called a happy puppy more
Yay.
than once in my life, right? I
I
kind of have
love
that happy
that.
energy, right? Super chats are rolling in. Thank you, friends. You guys are super generous as
Oh,
always. Yeah,
thank
I've been called
you.
happy puppy more than once. It's okay to do. It's okay to do that. Next time we talk. Okay, next time we talk, no restraint. How about that? No
Okay. Yes.
restraint. Okay,
I
because
love that.
I've gotten over it. People there, I used to get the comment, "Stop laughing so much." Right? Why are you laughing so much? I've got
Why
people
not?
either people have gotten over it, or
Mhm,
because
mhm.
I definitely have not stopped laughing so much. I giggle throughout my entire 2 hour live stream. It's just how it's gonna be,
Yes.
and hopefully the people who are here are feeling it and
Yeah.
not over it, not sick of it. Okay, so Cash is
Yeah.
rolling in for Alicia. What I'll do,
Oh,
friends, is in the community tab on this channel, I'll give a tally for what you
oh,
guys gave just
thank
today.
y'all.
But remember that the Patreon community money goes to the sabbatical fund, which goes to Alicia as well, and other
Thank you.
things. You guys are being super generous. So the
Yeah.
Vacarians community wants to support your sabbatical. So Alicia and anyone else out here who's listening, I hope you understand that when you share, when you're open, a little bit vulnerable, what happens is people are really drawn to you. People are really drawn to you. That vulnerability, that openness, that sharing, that kindness, that enthusiasm, that happy puppy, right? It is a magnet for more of that, right? It just snowballs. It creates a space for more of that and more of that. So we really
Mhm.
appreciate you, friends, for being so generous today.
Yes.
I'm
Yes. Thank
a
you.
second. Somebody right now is fumbling with their phone trying to figure out how to do it. So, okay, well, hold on for a little bit. YouTube will total this up tomorrow, and then I'll post in the community you, how much you are sending to Alicia Renise today. And then remember that I keep the Patreon community posted on the update. I just sent an update to the Patreon community just one day this week, letting them know that the first payment towards Alicia's sabbatical fund was sent to her, right? So that you'll be kept up to date. It was so Alicia got the money weeks ago, but I just let the Patreon know this week, okay? Because time is funny, okay? Time is funny. Time keeps moving, okay? But yeah, so Thank you also. Thank you all, friends, for your generosity, for your kindness. We can create that world. Another world is possible. And it's possible because we say so. And because we do so. Because we say so and we do so. We have to do it. We can't only dream it. Faith without works is dead, useless, and ineffective. Faith without works is useless and ineffective. But we can make that world possible if we say it is. So thank you very much for that. Alicia, we hope that your sabbatical is restful and everything you need it to be. Everything you need it to be.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I love that everything you need it to be. It doesn't have to look one way. It could look how it needs to be, how it needs to look. So I appreciate that.
That's
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's given. I really appreciate that. And everyone who has a heart to give and can't. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I
very,
appreciate that.
very kind. Okay, thanks, friends. Have a wonderful
Yes.
day. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to hit the end button because we'll never
Okay.
end. Okay, thank
I
you.
know.